Hello Year 5 and welcome to Maths again. Are you somewhere quiet where you can concentrate? Do you have your pencil and paper? Fantastic. Let's get started then. Here's your do now. Unpause when you're ready to go through the answers. So how did you do? Let's take a look. Here are the answers. Number 1, 720. Number 2, 0.7356. Number 3, 60. Number 4, 3,600. Number 5, 36. And number 6, 343. Don't forget, 3 cube is 7 times 7 times 7. Okay. So yesterday we were finding multiples of 10% of numbers, but today we're going to be finding multiples of 5% of numbers. So let's get started. Let's recap how to find 40% of 90. So remember, we're going to divide our percentage first by 10. So 40 divided by 10 equals 4. And then we're going to divide the number by 10. So the number is 90, and that's divided by 10 equals 9. And then we're going to multiply the answers in step 1 and 2. So 4 times 9 equals 36. Fantastic. Let's take a look at when we're trying to find a percentage that's greater than 50%. Okay, first of all, we're going to partition our percentage into 50 and then the remaining amount, which is, if I subtract 50 from 70, 70 take away 50 equals 20. Great. So remember, when we're finding 50% by a number, we just divide it by 2. So 90 divided by 2 equals 45. That's quite easy, although you can use bus stop method. Next, I'm going to find 10%. Okay, so by dividing my number by 10. So 90 divided by 10 equals 9. Now this is just 9%. This is just 10%, but we need to find 20%. So I know that that's now 9 times 2, so that's 18. I'm going to now add, let me just circle, because I know that this is my 50%. It might help you to put that there to remind you, so that's 50% and this here is 20%. And now we're going to add the 10s and the 50s together. So 45 plus 18 equals 5 plus 8 equals 13. 3 regroup 1. 1 plus 4 equals 5. Plus 1 equals 6. So 70% of 90 is 63. So today we need to understand what to do if we want to find a multiple of 5% of an amount. It's really important that you remember how to find 10% of an amount, because we need to do that first. And then we just halve that quantity, because 5 is half of 10. In case you have forgotten how to calculate 10%, here it is. It's quite simple though. So 5% of 200. 200 divided by 10 equals 20. Now we don't need to do this, because actually we can use our little trick of cancelling out the zeros, and then we have 20 divided by 1, which equals 20. Great. So we found our 10%. Next, we need to half the quantity. What does that mean? It means that we divide it by 2. So 20 divided by 2 equals 10. Quite simply, 5% of 200 is 10. So here we go. Let's try and find 5% of 10. Again, can you remember how to find 10% of a number? Okay, if not, here it is. So we have to place the decimal after the ones, 10 point, and then a 0 in the tenths. We're going to drop the decimal, and then we're going to move each digit one place value to the right. So 1, 0. It can be 1.0, or we can also say 1. Okay, so I know that 10% is 1. So we found the first step. Next, I'm going to half the quantity. So what is half of 1 as a decimal? 1 divided by 2 equals 0.5. Absolutely. Good job. Okay. Let's take a look at 5% of 120. So what is 10% of 120 first? So 120 divided by 10 equals, now that's nice and easy. I can just cross the zeros out. 12 divided by 1 equals 12. So I don't even need to do this one. Fantastic. And now I'm going to half the quantity. So 12 divided by 2 equals 6. Good. Let's take a look at this. 10% of 50, so 50 divided by 10 equals 5. Great. Half of 5 is 2.5. Good. Now, one way that you can do it is using bus stop method. 5 divided by 2. Now we have 5 divided by 2 equals 2, remainder 1. Now we don't have anything here, but we can place a decimal here and a decimal at the top, as we have done, and then remember our placeholder, and then we regroup our 1. 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Okay, but I think you should be able to calculate 5 divided by 2 quite easily. Let's take a look at this. 5% of 350 is, first of all, 360. Tell me, by, what's my answer? Good, how do you know? Excellent. 36 divided by 1 equals 36. Now what's my next step? Good. When I half it, what do I need to divide it by? Good. So my answer is 3 divided by 1 equals, what do I need to do? Remainder 1. Good. 16 divided by 2 equals, good. So my answer is 18 of 360. Fantastic. Okay, now in a test there is a question. Find 5% of 44. Now Callum says it's 4.4 and Matthew says it's 8.8 and Stacey says it's 2.2. What feedback do you have for them? So let's take a look. Now I know that 10% of 4.4 is, of 44 is 4.4, because if I had 44, I would place my decimal and then 0. I would drop my decimal. Remember, here's my steps to success. I would drop my decimal and move each digit one place value to the right. So I know that 10% would be 4.4. So I know that Callum hasn't found 5%. Actually, he's found 10%. So he would have to divide this number by 2. Matthew That's even greater than 4.4. He says it's 8.8, so he's doubled it. He's actually found 20%, not 10%. So he needs to divide it. Stacey, yeah, she seems to have done the right thing, because if I know that 10% is 4.4, then I know that half of that is 2.2. So I know that Stacey's right. And I would say that Callum needs to divide, and Matthew has doubled that again, and he needs to divide it twice. Instead of multiplying, he needs to divide his answer. Okay, so what I would like you to do is to complete your first independent task and unpause to go through the answers. So how did you find them? Let's take a look. These are the answers. Number 1 is 1, number 2 is 4, number 3 is 9, and number 5 is 3.3. Okay. Now that we're very confident finding 5% of numbers, we can now use this to help us find multiples of 5%. So, for example, instead of finding 5%, we're now finding 15%. So let's take a look at our steps of success. Number 1, we're going to partition the percentages into tens and fives. We're then going to find 10% by dividing by 10, then multiplying if needed. Then we're going to find 5% by halving 10, and then we're going to add partition percentages. So let's take a look. Number 1, we're going to partition the percentage into tens and fives. So I know that 15, we have 10 and 5. 10% plus 5%. Next, find 10% by dividing by 10. So we're going to take a look at our number, and we're going to divide it by 10. And we're quite used to doing this now. 40 divided by 10 equals 4. Then we're going to find 5% of that by halving it. And then we're going to add them together. So let's take a look. First of all, we're going to partition the percentages into tens. So here we have 15, and I know that that's 10 and 5. Okay. Now we're going to find 10% of our number. So I'm going to divide 600 by 10, which equals 60 divided by 1 equals 60. So this is 10%. I'm going to write that on the side so that I know that I found this number. Great. Now I need to find the 5%. So half of 10%, 60, divided by 2 equals 30. You can use your bus stop method if you need to. And I know that this is 5%. Now I'm looking for 15%, so actually I can easily add these two. 60 plus 30 equals 90. So 15% of 600 equals 90. Let's take a look at this one. First, I'm going to partition my percentage. So I know that 15 equals 10 and 5%. Great. Now I'm going to find 10% by dividing my number by 10. So 8 divided by 10 equals. Now again, if you need to, but I think you should remember how to divide by 10. You can put 8 and then your decimal and then your 0 and your tenths. You're going to drop your decimal and you're going to move each decimal to the right. Don't forget that you need what in your ones? Good. Okay, so actually 8 divided by 10 equals 0.8. Okay, so I found this is my 10%. Now I need to find half. This is quite easy. Half of 0.4. So again, I can use my bus stop method, but I know that half of 8 equals, so 0.8 divided by 2 equals 4, and then half of 0 equals 0, so 0.4. Now I'm going to add these together. Remember, when I'm adding decimals, I need to make sure that the decimals are lined up. Good. So 0.8 plus 0.4 equals 8 plus 4 equals 12. And 1 plus 0 equals 1. Is my answer 12? What have I forgotten to do? Yes, remember I need to line up my decimals, so I need to place my decimal here, and this changes the answer. It's not 12, it's 1.2. So 15% of 8 is 1.2. Now let's take a look at this. And this question is asking us for 25% of 180. Now I could use these steps to success to calculate it, but there's actually a much easier way. What is 25% as a fraction? Can you remember? Good, it is 1/4. So actually, all I have to do when I'm looking for 25% is divide my number by 4. So 180 divided by 4. 1 divided by 4 equals 0, remainder 1. So I'm going to place 0 here and I'm going to regroup my 1. This becomes 18. So 18 divided by 4 equals 4, 8, 12, 16. 4, remainder 2. Good. So I'm going to place my 4 at the top and I'm going to regroup my 2. Excellent. And that becomes 20 divided by 4 equals 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. That's 5. And so 1/4 of 180 equals 45. So please remember that if you're looking for 25%, you're dividing it by 4. What about 75%? What do you notice here? How do we write that as a fraction? Good, so 3/4. Remember when we were finding our fractions of quantities, it's exactly the same. So you're going to divide by the denominator and multiply by the numerator. Excellent. So let's do this. 180 divided by 4, we know, is 45. Okay. You would go through the same process. You would divide it using your bus stop method. And now we know that 1/4 equals 45. We're going to multiply it by 3. Good. So 3 times 5 equals 15. Sorry. 3 times 4 equals 12, plus 1 equals 13. Excellent. So 3/4 or 75% of 180 equals 135. That's a lot quicker than doing it this way. So remember, for 25% and 75%, for 25% you would calculate 1/4, and for 3/4 you would calculate 1/4 and then multiply it by 3. Okay, what about this one? 35% of 40. So first of all, let's partition the percentages into tens and fives. So I have how many tens? 3. So that's 30. And then how many fives? 5. Good. Now I'm going to find 10% of 40. So 40 divided by 10 equals 4. But I'm not looking for 10%, I'm looking for 30%. So how many tens do I have in 30? Good, so 30 divided by 10 equals 3. I now need to multiply 4 times 3, and that equals 12. I'm going to circle that. Now I'm going to find 5% by halving my 10, so 12 divided by 2. This one I know because I know my 2 times tables. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and that's 6. And now I'm going to add them together. So 12 plus 6 equals, 6 plus 2 equals 8, and 1. So 35% of 40 equals 18. Now let's take a look at this one. We have 95% of 80. Now I could go through all of my steps to success, but is there a more efficient way? What do you notice? Yeah, it's actually closer to 100, only 5% away from 100. So what I can do is find what 5% is and then subtract it from 80. Now, one way that I could calculate that is by finding 10% of 80, and I know that 80 divided by 10 equals 8. That was really simple because I know my 10 times tables, and I know that 5% is half of that, so 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Now I just need to subtract 4 from 80, so 80 take away 4 equals 76. So 95% of 80 equals 76. Now, it's much quicker calculating it this way than using the steps to success. You can use these steps to success if you would like. So here's a word problem. Lucas spilled 25% of his cereal on the floor. If he had 160 grams of cereal, how much did he drop? Can you remember what we said about calculating 25% of something? Instead of using our steps to success, what could we do? How would I write that as a fraction? Can you remember? 25% is equal to, good, 1/4. So I know that I need to divide the total by 4 and then multiply it by 1. So let's try 160 divided by 4. 1 divided by 4 equals 0, remainder 1. So I'm going to place my 0 and regroup. 16 divided by 4 equals 4, 8, 12, 16. That's 4. Great. And then 0 divided by 4 equals 0. Great. And then I'm going to multiply 40 by 1 because I have one of those quarters. So actually it's 40%. That's much quicker than partitioning my 25. How many tens do I have? I have 20. And how many fives? 5. And then calculating it this way. It's a lot trickier. So let's see if you can do these. The first 5 questions are here. Unpause to complete the next 5. And here are the next 5. And we have another 3 here. unpause for the extension. And when you're ready, you can unpause for the answers. Here are the answers. One is 8, number 2 is 11, number 3 is 2, number 4 is 60, number 5 is 63, number 6 is 28, number 7 is 209, number 8 is 210, number 9 is 338, and number 10 is 98. And number 11 is 6. Number 12, 6 is 10% of 60, not 5%. And number 13, 5% is 4.6, but we can't have 4.6 people. We can either have 4 people or we can either have 5 people. So it's an impossible number. You need a whole number and a person can't be a decimal. I hope you found that lesson okay. Not too tricky. Oh, sorry, I've got the extension. You go. Don't forget to upload your answers with your marking onto Seesaw, and we very much look forward to seeing them online. I hope you enjoyed that lesson and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.